As soon as Father learned that the captain had abandoned me, the man was as good as dead. I could already picture his corpse dangling on Gallows Square, behind the church of Demeiron. Bloated and rotting, crows tearing the sinew from his flesh. But what good did that serve me? By the time the captain met his end in Foxenberg, I'd be long gone. I collapsed onto the docks of Blotzeth, staring out over the sea of cries. A wave of hopelessness washed over me. I wanted to cry, but instead folded my hands and prayed to Arthur Leon. I begged him to bring the captain's ship back to me, but the great whale clearly wasn't listening. He'd better have a damn good reason for ignoring Emilia var Lavenhugel. Through tears that pressed at the corners of my eyes, I gazed out at the blackened sea, and for a moment, I imagined the sea god lying dead at the bottom of it, overgrown and decaying, with crabs crawling in and out of his hollowed skull. God or not, what other excuse could he possibly have for abandoning me in my hour of need? If no one came to my rescue, I was doomed. I, Emilia var Lavenhugel, was doomed. It wasn't possible. It couldn't be possible. Anger boiled within me before it erupted. I was a volcano. I stood and screamed, the anger tearing through my vocal cords. I cursed all the gods of heaven and called them every vile thing my heart could conjure. But as quickly as it had flared, the rage subsided. Silence fell upon me. Only the sound of the creeping waves broke through the oppressive darkness. Only them, and the clattering of teeth behind my clenched lips. Only this, and nothing more. I wept. I longed for Mother. And then, a rasping breath sounded behind me. I turned just in time to see a figure rise over me before everything went black. A white light flashed before my eyes, and pain shot through my skull, as if my brain had been split in two. Suddenly, a vision flickered before my mind's eye. A vision of an ancient oak standing atop a windswept, desolate mountaintop. I tried to scream, but something had crawled down my throat, cutting off my air. The vision changed, and I saw hundreds of tentacles twisting around a crooked tower before the image changed again. This time, it was replaced by 3 burning rivers in the sky, spitting fire over the treetops of an overgrown, ancient forest. I glimpsed a massive shadow moving between the trees, only to have it vanish as quickly as it had appeared. "Wings of Wrath," a voice whispered inside me, before the shadow reappeared, slow as the tide. The voice was that of a woman, wraith-like and foul with anger. "Shadows and ash, and eyes like holes into nothing. Wake up, Emilia. You're dreaming." When I awoke, I did not have the faintest idea of where I was. Underneath me, I heard wagon wheels creaking as they labored through ash. I cracked my eyes open, and the light piercing through the clouds above caused tears to run down my cheeks. I tried to move, but realized I was tied up, and when I tried to scream, I found that I was gagged. The only sound I could make through the gag was a faint whimper. I writhed as hard as I could, but the ropes around my body were too tight. I turned my head and saw I was bound to the back of a cart. Around me, the ash wastes stretched out in every direction, a grey and lifeless desert, broken only by jagged mountain ranges on the horizon, which pierced the clouds in the sky. The only vegetation in the landscape was the scattered groves of charred trees, like dark and crumbling towers. The silhouettes of the ancient growths stood against the ashen background. At the front of the cart, with his back to me, sat a figure holding the reins of the creature pulling the cart. He was dressed in a long coat and wore a wide-brimmed hat. For a moment, I thought of the elf who had asked me to kiss him back in the tap house in Blotzeth, Dren Arasith. Was it he who had done this to me? I tried to call out to him. I wanted to shout, "Come here and untie me, damn it!" But I couldn't get a single word past the gag. I whimpered. It was all I could manage. The figure in the coachman's seat turned around. It wasn't Dren Arasith. Around his neck, he had wrapped a long grey wool scarf, which covered most of his face, pulled up to the bridge of his nose. I could see dark grey and scarred skin, and his eyes were as black as an insect's. He spoke, his voice faint and hoarse, as if his vocal cords were shredded.
Varenala Kaviras, Uthavaras and Lothrak, Azanoth Varet Nasula. You don't even know our tongue, do you, Firage?
He said. Yanking the reins so hard, the creature pulling the cart howled and came to a stop. It had 6 legs and was covered in a dark shell that gleamed in the shifting light of the sky. The driver climbed into the cart and crouched beside me, staring directly into my eyes.
What do you say, Firage? Do you want me to let you go? Is it freedom you desire? Ha! All you Firage are the same. You demand and demand, always boasting about how powerful you are, but the moment you find yourself in trouble, all you have are whimpers and pleas. Would your emperor free the Ash Elves if we begged him for freedom? Shut your mouth, human, you damned Firage. I know who you are. Your father has a lot of blood on his hands, or rather, on his conscience. The mighty lords of the Empire wouldn't want to dirty their own hands now, would they?
My captor loosened his scarf and pulled a dagger from his belt. Before I could grasp what was happening, he sliced his tongue and spat at me. His thick, dark blood spattered across my face, seeping into my eyes and smearing over my lips, its metallic taste curdling as I bit down harder on the gag. I wanted to scream. I tried to tear free and bloody well murder this freak. But I couldn't move an inch. He laughed. A dull, rusty sound echoing against the foreboding silence of the ash wastes.
Do you think you got it bad, little girl? That I'm being cruel to you? Lothananaras, just wait until Sadhara gets you. Oh, how you'll long to be back on my cart then.
With a smile that bared his blood-soaked teeth, he climbed off the cart and wrapped the scarf back around his face. He climbed into the coachman's seat and whipped the beast pulling the cart so hard it let out a scream before the wheels began to turn. I cried. Whether it was from fear, anger, or hopelessness, I did not know. I just cried. As soon as Father learned about this, that bastard in the coachman's seat would suffer. The gallows wouldn't be punishment enough. He'd burn. Like a witch in league with Demora. And I would ensure the wood was damp, so the fire spread slowly. But how would Father even find out? That was the problem. Bound and gagged as I was, it seemed impossible that I'd ever be in a position to let him know of this. So, I wept. It was all I could do. As the ashen June slowly passed around me, I wept until the hopelessness became unbearable, and sleep overcame me. In my sleep, I dreamed I was drowning. Dead bodies floated all around me, and the deeper I sank, the more there were. They were enormous. Some were as large as mountains. I lifted my head and tried to catch a glimpse of the stars above the water's surface, but something long-limbed grabbed me from below. I wanted to scream, but my lungs filled with water. And as the tentacles in the deep dragged me down, visions flickered before my mind's eye. I saw oaks twisting, worms writhing in the dark, and a grave creature clawing its way up from the earth and crawling under the covers in the bed of a little red-haired girl who looked exactly like me. My heart was pounding even before I managed to open my eyes. When I finally did, the world was utterly dark. The sun had set, and the ash wastes lay shrouded under the empty sky. Except for the swampy green glow from a lantern on the coachman's seat, it was as black as the waters in my dream. The cart had come to a stop. All was quiet. Only the beating of my heart. Nothing more. But then, I heard the ashes shift nearby. I squinted and glimpsed a shadow slipping through the faint lantern light. Something had found us. We were not alone.
Shagarath!
Yelled my captor, but no answer came from the darkness. I waited, tense and unmoving, for whatever was prowling around the cart to reveal itself. The silence stretched, and I held my breath, each second dragging on like an eternity. But eventually, every silence is broken, and this was no exception. My heart lurched at the wet shriek of a blade slicing through flesh, accompanied by a choked groan and a spray of blood gushing through the air. Then the silence returned. The shadow I'd seen moved toward me. Just like in my dream, I tried to scream, but once again, I couldn't. It wasn't just the gag in my mouth that stopped me. The scream was stuck in my chest, buried alive, clawing desperately, but never breaking free. The shadow reached for me. I jerked away with a whimper, but froze as the ropes that bound me began to loosen. Once I was freed, the figure withdrew, each step labored and uneven, as if every movement sent pain knifing through him. His right leg dragged behind, barely bending at the knee, carving a crooked trail in the ash. I sat up, spat the gag from my mouth, and looked around. The shadowy figure was now at the front of the cart, calming the beast that was shrieking and stamping the ground in panic. It bucked and stamped its clawed feet, shrieking into the night. But the shadowy figure murmured softly to it. His hands, though unsteady, ran along the beast's neck with the precision of habit. Eventually the beast quieted down, its twisting antennae twitching in the moonlight. As the shadow turned, the lantern light slipped and revealed a pale, scarred face beneath a half-mask. His skin clung tight to sharp cheekbones, and his lips were torn to shreds, the jagged wounds twisting his mouth into a grim, perpetual scowl. I recognized him immediately. The elf from the tap house, Dren Arasith. At the front of the cart lay my captor, his throat a jagged, gaping wound, blood soaking his ash-ridden clothes. Dren slowly circled back toward me, and as he drew closer, I noticed the tremor in his hands. He placed a leather-gloved hand on the cart where I sat, and I flinched, jerking away as the stench of old booze and something sour washed over me.
What's wrong, Masariash? Your captor's dead. That's usually the part where you sigh in relief and thank your heroic savior, no? Not in the mood? That bastard was about to bring you to his dark mistress of Zashlash, a fate worse than anything you can imagine. Trust me.
Just as I inhaled to speak, a gust of wind kicked ash into the air, and I doubled over coughing, my throat stinging with every ragged breath.
Are you all right?
Do I look all right? I snapped, tears and blood running down my face. For Naria's sake, get me out of here! I want to go home and never set foot in this wretched place again.
Ah, now that's the spirit.
He rubbed the back of his neck, his hand lingering at the base of his skull, like he was holding his head together.
But no can do, I'm afraid. Orders are orders. I'm to take you to Valeswood. Our glorious lady, the Wielder, awaits you at the Forbidden Temple. Please, do try to contain your excitement.
What? I thought you came to rescue me, not take me captive.
Captive? Oh, no, Messiash. Nothing so crude. I'm simply going to bring you to Valeswood, whether you like it or not.
I couldn't tell if he was joking or not.
You see, I'm reliably informed that we don't do things the Vanaron way at the Forbidden Temple.
He cast my previous captor a gaze.
Unlike this bastard's dark mistress, our lady says that no one can be forced into bondage or servitude. There's always a choice, she says. Everyone is free in Lok Lalesh, she says.
He paused, and I could swear I saw a shadow of resentment crossing his face before he pulled himself together and caught my gaze.
If you don't want to go with me, all you have to do is resist.
What do you mean?
Kill me.
Kill you?
Sure, why not? Imagine the drama. You swipe my blade, slit my throat, and make a daring escape. Grand stuff, really. Assuming, of course, you can handle the Vashir that pulls this cart.
I glanced at the creature tied to the cart. Its twisting antennae curled as it dug its head into the ash and plucked out a worm with its fanged beak. I looked back at Dren and couldn't tell whether he was being serious or if this was some kind of sick joke. What kind of barbaric nonsense is this you're babbling about? I asked.
I'm told it's life itself.
You're mad.
Ha! Madness would be a fucking blessing. But no, Messiash. Sadly for both of us, I'm perfectly sane and dead serious. There is always a choice.
But you're stronger than me. What chance do I have of killing you?
You could always try running. There's another choice for you. See? It's like a game. I couldn't stop you from trying.
But you could stop me from succeeding.
Obviously. Like I said, my orders are to bring you to the Forbidden Temple.
Orders? I scoffed. So much for free will. He chuckled. A dry, ash-choked sound.
There's always a choice. Everyone is free as a fucking bird in Lok Lalesh. At least, so it used to be.
What's that supposed to mean? His lips tightened.
Nothing.
He pulled a flask from his coat and unscrewed the cap. Tilting his head back, he took a long sip. For a moment, a shadow of relief crossed his face, like a man catching his first breath after being held underwater. Then it was gone. With a grunt, he stumbled to the front of the cart. Grabbing the corpse slumped in the seat by the collar, he hauled it up despite the stiffness in his limbs. The dead elf hit the ground with a dull thud, whipping up a puff of ash. Dren climbed into the vacant seat.
We should leave before more of Sadhara's lackeys show up. Not everyone in this blasted country shares the same glorious philosophy of free will as...
He paused, exhaling a tired sigh.
As the oh-so-holy lady of the Forbidden Temple.
With a sharp yank on the reins, Dren dragged the beast into motion. The creature shrieked, claws scraping at the ash as it fought the harness. The cart lurched violently, nearly tossing me from my seat. Dren snapped the whip again, harder this time, and the beast stumbled forward with a guttural hiss, dragging us through the ash, wheels grinding against the earth.